You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show with Lee Sanders.
And hello, everybody. This is Lee Sanders, and you're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show. It is April 1st, 2012, and what a very monumental, memorable WrestleMania 28 pay-per-view that it was. For those of you that were unfortunate to miss all of the extravaganza, I highly recommend to you that you go on ahead, you come out your pocket, and you pay for that encore that is going to be shown all throughout the week, and definitely buy it on DVD. What a fantastic pay-per-view. We're going to be tackling all of the match results in just a little bit. As always, you are more than welcome to join our chat room and discuss a number of the topics that we'll be discussing tonight with regards to the pay-per-view. And also, you can call in, as we would love to hear from you all, especially those of you that were in Miami for the weekend and were at WrestleMania 28. Toll-free number, 888-342-9848. Again, that 800 number is 888-342-9848. Feel free to jump in at any time. And I just have to kick this show off by mentioning the WWE Hall of Fame and the fan access that had went down over the weekend. And I had heard from a number of fans who went to the WWE Access and the Hall of Fame that it was such an experience that words really couldn't describe it, that you had to actually be there to be able to take in all of the excitement. And in particular, I had the privilege of speaking to a young gentleman by the name of Cal, who was down there at Miami, Florida for the weekend, who went to the WWE Hall of Fame and the fan access. And I am very privileged to share that interview with you all this evening. And after we do this interview here, I pre-recorded from earlier, I'll go on ahead and I'll tackle what all had happened at WrestleMania 28. But for those of you who were a little bit on the fence about whether or not you should go to a WWE fan access, you definitely want to go. Just listen to my friend Cal here, and I'll be right with you in a second here. All right. Enjoy this interview, folks.
Hey, bro, what's up? It's Lee Sanders with the RCWR show.
Hey, Lee, what's going on?
Hey, all right, bro. So you went to the WWE Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I went to the Hall of Fame yesterday with some friends and my brother, and it's an awesome time.
Yeah.
We got to see legends and wrestlers who deserve to be inducted, get inducted. The crowd was amazing. The speeches were amazing. It was overall a great time.
Yeah. So tell me about that. What was your favorite part about the Hall of Fame ceremony?
There are two favorite parts. Like Edge's introduction and speech was absolutely incredible. He spoke from the heart. You could tell that it really meant a lot to him. And you know, a lot of people said that Edge was maybe too early for Edge to go in, or he didn't deserve to go in. And that night, it just showed that regardless of when Edge retired and what time, you know, the time frame that someone should go into the Hall of Fame, that it didn't matter. Edge is a Hall of Famer and a legend, and he deserves to be in. And the other part was Arn Anderson's part of the Four Horsemen speech. All of the horsemen, they had great speeches, all funny, all emotional, but Arn Anderson, it was really his night, and the crowd accepted to him, and everybody in the arena just, you could tell that it was his night, and it's an amazing speech by Arn.
Yeah, it was really good to hear that Arn Anderson got in there, because as many people have said it over the past couple of weeks, if it wasn't for the induction of the Four Horsemen, they're just, unfortunately, as good as a wrestler and as good as a member that Double A was to the Four Horsemen, just as a singles wrestler, there's just no way he wouldn't have been able to get in there.
Yeah, a lot of people did say that, but even though they inducted the Horsemen as a whole,
yeah,
it was still, at the end, like, about Arn Anderson, because you expect Ric Flair to go last and Ric Flair to, like, ham it up and tell stories. Ric Flair was only on for, like, a few minutes, and then they passed it to Tully Blanchard, and then Arn Anderson was up last. And the interesting thing about Arn Anderson's speech was, rather than put himself over, he put over everybody else, the younger guys, John Cena, guys who've helped him in the past. It was his moment, and he decided to share it with everybody else. CM Punk, he called CM Punk a team leader. And it just shows the kind of guy Arn Anderson is, that he would, in his moment, he decided to share it with not just his family, his friends, but put over the entire WWE and the roster.
Talk about classy. Now, we were talking on Twitter briefly, and I remember I had asked you, I said, did Ric Flair mention TNA at all? And you said, no, he didn't. I know you just said he was on there for a few minutes, but talk about your reaction, the crowd's reaction, to see Ric Flair coming out and just the whole atmosphere, because we all know that, you know, he's now working for TNA. He's been working for TNA for the past couple of years, but, you know, there's actually those wrestling fans that aren't even aware of that. They think that he just went off into the sunset and retired.
Yeah, Ric Flair, it was like he left and he came back and arms were wide open. Everybody was wooing the entire night. Everybody was excited to see him. He got a little emotional. He always gets a little emotional.
Yeah.
And I think that everyone was just happy to see Ric Flair do something that didn't involve Gunner. So it was just a great reaction for Flair. And I didn't hear him say this, but I've heard that he said that I want to come back. He's like, because some fans were saying come home or something like that. And he's like, I know, I want to come back. And the WWE would welcome him with open arms. And so with the fans, it was like he never left.
Now, you say he didn't mention TNA. Did it kind of seem like, as he was talking briefly, that maybe he kind of wanted to say something about TNA? Did it kind of seem like he was trying to find the right words to say, or did everything just happen to flow out of him naturally?
It flew out of him naturally, but I don't think Flair had TNA in mind at all that night. It was about the Horsemen.
Right.
It was about their induction to the Hall of Fame. Had nothing to do with TNA. And I think Ric Flair, overall, is a professional. He knows he works for their opposite company, but he's not going to go onto the WWE Hall of Fame and mention the company that he works for.
Right.
It would just be unprofessional on his part.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know a lot of people were sitting up and they were saying, you know, hey, he's got to try to figure out some type of a way to plug TNA, because they were sitting up saying that with regards to the WWE TNA negotiations, that TNA somehow wanted for there to be some type of plug for them. But I mean, I think you made a very valid point that tonight, or that night rather, it was just all about Ric Flair being inducted. I'm curious, did you see any other wrestlers from outside organizations of the WWE that were present?
There's not outside of WWE. There was just a few legends that were kind of floating around. Some Hall of Famers like Sergeant Slaughter and Ted DiBiase. I didn't see the rumored, you know, Brock Lesnar and Batista and all these other people are getting rumored.
Yeah.
I didn't see anyone else like that there.
Okay. And I'm curious, did you go to WWE Fan Access?
I did.
Yeah.
I went on Friday.
Yeah, tell the fans about that. What was your experience like?
WWE Access, if you're a wrestling fan, you get a chance to go to WrestleMania, definitely go to Access at least once. It's an amazing experience, a lot of fun. It's just the perfect place to go and be a fan again. A lot of us take this for granted. A lot of us are smarter fans, and we kind of think we're above certain aspects of the WWE and certain aspects of the product. But access, you just go in there, and it's the Undertaker's graveyard, and you're in there, and it's the Undertaker's graveyard. They have all these like, smoke and mirrors and caskets, and you're just kind of enamored with that. And one of my favorite parts of it was the memorabilia area, and you walk through the memorabilia area, and it's like old attire, like Jimmy Evan Neidhart's jacket, Bret Hart's glasses, and Chris Jericho's attire from WrestleMania. The Miz's fedora was in there for whatever reason. But it's just an overall fun experience. You can also meet superstars. The lines are enormous, unless your name is Johnny Curtis. And you can also play the Superstar Challenge is also a favorite part of mine, the THQ video game challenge.
Yeah.
So you kind of see superstars a lot more relaxed and in their own environment, just playing video games and having fun with the crowd. And I recommend it for everybody.
Would you say the experience is better than going to a live SmackDown Raw event?
Yeah, the experience is better than going to a live SmackDown and Raw because it's just WrestleMania.
Right.
Everything is amplified, you know?
Right.
Not just the wrestling part, but the whole town, all of Miami is all about WrestleMania. If you walk into Miami, you see posters from WrestleMania, you see John Cena posted up here, Eve, The Rock, CM Punk, and the wrestling community in general is all about WrestleMania. Colt Cabana, he did $5 wrestling at midnight after the Hall of Fame, the Wrestling Reunion was also in the area. Same with Ring of Honor, Dragon Gate. It's one of those times that every wrestling fan could come together, even if you're not like a huge WWE fan. There's something for everybody around WrestleMania season, and that's really fun as well.
Yeah, I almost forgot. You said Wrestle Reunion went down last night. Did you attend that too?
Yeah, I went to Wrestle Reunion on Saturday.
Yeah.
I got to see the show that they put on, which was also an entertaining show. The New Age Outlook was there. They had a very funny moment where, you know, the opening of the New Age Outlook being, oh, you didn't know? The music stopped. The music was not working. So they had to come out without music.
Oh.
And the Road Dogg, the Road Dogg improvised, did great as usual. He's like, we don't need any music. You guys know how it goes. You do some guitar riffs, and then I go, you didn't know. So he made the crowd do the guitar, the da-na-na-na, and the Road Dogg did the, oh, you didn't know? And then the crowd did the guitar again, and they did their whole entrance. And if you're a fan of the Outlaws, like, it's really fun to see. I was always a fan when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I never got a chance to see them when I was younger. So I was definitely like that 12-year-old kid again, saying the whole Road Dogg, Jesse James, Badass Billy Gunn, the whole 9 yards.
Awesome. And talk about Yokozuna, Mike Tyson. In particular, I like it if you could start off with Mike Tyson, because I heard he said some pretty funny, hilarious, like off-the-wall stuff.
Mike Tyson was off the wall the entire time. He was so off the wall that we couldn't understand him at some times, but the funniest thing he said, at least to me, was that he called Dusty Rhodes a 70s black man. And which is true. Like, you look at Dusty Rhodes, he's got a little black in him. And he also called John Cena black as well, saying he threw up gang signs and when Booker T ran off scared. It was really random, but really funny. And another good thing about Tyson's introduction was that D-Generation X, they did a whole bit about Shawn Michaels versus Tyson fights and being knocked out by Mike Tyson, and the chemistry between Shawn Michaels and Triple H was on point for the introduction. So when that DVD comes out, or if it's on Monday, it's definitely worth checking out.
Right. Yeah, because I know the event, it had to have been at least 2 hours, because what they're plugging for USA is an hour special.
Yeah, they usually cut it up for USA. Yeah. Like last year, they did the celebrity and maybe 2 introductions.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to do that again. But this one is definitely going to be the worst. It usually comes with WrestleMania 28, that's the Hall of Fame.
Right, yeah.
I think all the speeches were worth it. Ron Simmons had an amazing speech, a very incredible speech. JBL, I never cheered
how was the moment for Yokozuna?
Yokozuna was pretty emotional. His entire family came out. We saw one of the Usos already kind of tearing up at the beginning because he just had such an impact on their lives. He related to him.
Right.
I remember Yokozuna as a kid. He scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, same here.
Everybody I liked. I didn't even think him as a kid.
Yeah.
But Yokozuna was another one that people were like, oh, he didn't deserve to be in. So I guess it's good. And it didn't matter that night at all. Yokozuna was a legend in WWE, and he got his rightful place in the Hall of Fame.
Wow, that's crazy. And so you're going to cap off the night, you're going to go to the pay-per-view, right?
Yes. Tonight is WrestleMania. Absolutely excited. Rock, Cena, Jericho, Punk, Taker Michaels, Epico and Primo against the Usos, against Tyson Kidd, Justin Gabriel. I'm a big Primo and Epico fan, so the fact that they're on the card.
Right. Yeah, just the fact that the tag team titles are on the line at the biggest pay-per-view event, I mean, that's fine with me. Even if it's a dark match, that's fine with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If you hear some guys chanting, let's go Primo, that's probably me. I'm probably the only one doing it, but that'll be my voice.
Well, look, you go on ahead, because I know you got to probably get ready for a little bit. I really appreciate you taking out the time to do this interview with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And that was Cal from earlier today giving his thoughts on the WWE Hall of Fame and the WWE Fan Access. So for you fans that were a little bit curious about whether or not Fan Access is definitely a really cool experience, hopefully that convinced you, and that next time WWE rolls around to your nearest city, you'll be willing to go check that out. I know definitely us over here at the RCWR show, we are definitely going to be taking part in next year's Fan Access, as we are going to make it be our goal to cover WrestleMania 29 from New York next year. So circle your calendars, and hopefully you'll be able to join us with all the cool WWE WrestleMania festivities for that weekend. We're going to do this. We're going to take a quick pause, and then when we come back, we're going to go right into it. We're going to tackle the WWE WrestleMania 28 pay-per-view, and you will be surprised with some of the things that I have to say. Stick around. You're listening to a very special RCWR show. This is our WrestleMania 28 post-show. Be right back.
You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show with Lee Sands.
All right, and we are back. You know, before I go any further and get right into the WWE WrestleMania 28 event, I just have to take a quick pause here, and I have to mention to you listeners that are listening to this broadcast right now, those of you that plan on downloading this episode, wherever you may be listening to it at whatever time, I need you to do me a huge personal favor, and I need you to be on the lookout for a good friend of mine, one of my Twitter followers named Jennifer Thompson. She's on Twitter at Jen, that's spelled Jen, T as in Tom, 02. She's at Jen T02, and she really needs our help right now because her niece has gone missing. From the bit of information I was able to gather so far, it looks like her niece has probably been missing since possibly sometime last night or sometime today. I'm leaning more towards last night. And if you look her up on Twitter, there is a picture, and you can retweet that picture to all your friends. If anybody knows anything, they're encouraged to contact Jennifer Thompson. I was actually supposed to have her aunt and uncle appear on the show tonight to give you all a bit more details on when was probably the last time they saw her, what she was wearing, things of that nature, but they had an emergency that came up at the last minute. So I promised them that I would put this word out. So, again, if y'all have any information, or even if you don't have any information, if you could kindly just go to her page at GenT02 and look at the picture of her niece and retweet it to all your friends on Twitter, Facebook, chat forums that you all participate in. They would really appreciate it. And so, on that note, let us sink our teeth into probably one of the most memorable pay-per-views of the night. And I must say, what a surprising reaction from some of our RCWR fans, as it was a bit of a mixed reaction for this pay-per-view. And I just have to say, probably the one thing that made a lot of fans upset was our first televised match for the evening, which was Sheamus taking on Daniel Bryan, which ended in 18 seconds. And that is, according to WWE, a new record for getting a victory. As Sheamus and Daniel Bryan stepped foot in the ring, Daniel Bryan would turn his back on Sheamus, and he would get a good luck kiss from his girlfriend AJ, but only to turn around and get in his face a devastating bro kick by Sheamus to pick up the 1-2-3. And Sheamus is our new World Heavyweight Champion. And again, a lot of fans were very upset at this. I personally, I thought that this was a bit of a shocker, to say the least. I truly felt that Daniel Bryan, on the biggest stage of them all, did not deserve to lose in the type of fashion that he did. If you've been listening to the show, I have been saying for many weeks now, leading up until WrestleMania, that the type of matches that Daniel Bryan has been put in, he has not come out of his match to look like a very strong contender, like a legitimate champion. He does not come off believable, just as a joke. And as a result of that, I mean, we all knew that Sheamus, without a doubt, was going to become the World Heavyweight Champion. But I think that probably what surprised me, as well as many of you fans, is the time fashion in which he lost the match. And it's just one of those things that has me scratching my head and really feeling that Daniel Bryan was truly underutilized. With this win by Sheamus, it just solidifies that Daniel Bryan and his title reign was always a joke, that he was just holding the championship until WWE could figure out what better man they could put it on. And yes, Daniel Bryan, he may not have the height, he may not have the weight size, but he is a tremendous athlete in that ring. He has been compared to the likes of one Dynamite Kid. He has been compared to the controversial late Chris Benoit. And it's just one of those situations where you have a decorated wrestler such as Daniel Bryan, who has spent a lot of years wrestling in the indies, to come into the WWE and be on the difficult journey that he's been on through NXT, and then temporarily joining Nexus, to trying to win over his critics, and then ultimately becoming the World Heavyweight Champion and doing this heel turn. I must say, and I think a lot of fans will agree, his heel turn was very interesting, and there was just so many layers to that new character that he was embracing, that there was plenty more storylines that could have continued on with that. And I'm just very curious now in what direction will Daniel Bryan go in from here forward. Is it going to be a situation where Daniel Bryan is now going to drop down to low card status or mid card status? Only time will tell, but one thing is looking for certain. His reign as a top man in the WWE may possibly be at an end, at least for now. But I like to be one of those type of believers that says never say never. But again, that definitely was a shocker of a match. And for those of you who did not catch the WWE live stream WrestleMania pre-show, we saw a triple threat match for the tag team championships in a dark match, as it would be Epico and Primo defending their championships against Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel versus the Usos. And Primo and Epico would retain their tag team championships. Another match in which a lot of fans really expressed their dislike as far as Primo and Epico retaining. They feel that Primo and Epico just are not legitimate champions, that Primo and Epico have not done anything since winning the tag team champions, and I am no stranger when it comes to criticizing Primo and Epico. And I have said it once before, many weeks back, and I'll continue to say it again. They are impressive in the ring. They have been getting better on a week-to-week basis. But the thing that I find most troublesome about this tag team is that they have no microphone ability. They do not have that charisma to really capture you and make you feel invested into their matches. And this is something that they really need to work on. Understand that the only reason why Primo is even in the WWE right now is because of his cousin Carlito Colon. So that's why he has been with them for so long. How he continues to be able to dodge the pink slip, and Primo as well, Epico as well, I have the slightest clue. But I actually thought that maybe R-Truth and Kofi Kingston a couple of weeks back, before they were thrown into this whole Team Johnny versus Team Teddy Long, I actually believed that it was going to be R-Truth and Kofi to get those tag belts off the champions, as they had a lot of momentum going in. They have the fan base. They have the T-shirt logos. They got the gimmicks down. And why have those belts just be dead weight on somebody that really is just not getting the job done? I have actually had RCWR followers say to me that, wait a minute, there are actually WWE Tag Team titles. So that lets you know that those belts really are not being put in the spotlight that they should be in. And an old school wrestler once said that the belt doesn't make you the man, you make the belt. You are the one that makes that belt important. And right now, the people that are holding on to those tag titles, moving right along. After our match with Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, we saw a backstage segment where Team Johnny is talking and trying to figure out what exactly they're going to do when they go in the ring and face Team Teddy Long later on. And Miz tries to interrupt and basically let them know that since he is the one that won last year at WrestleMania, it's definitely going to be him that's going to lead them to victory, as he believes that he holds the keys to that success. Team Johnny would basically diss him and talk amongst themselves and try to figure out what their strategy is going to be. And when, as always, the coffee drinking in the mug David Otunga, who is, I am having a hard time figuring out what his identity is right now. He either wants to be a lawyer or he wants to be a bodybuilder, because he looks the part of the lawyer when he's running around backstage sipping coffee, yet when he comes out into the ring, he is flexing his muscles like he's Mr. Olympian. I mean, the last time I saw a wrestler do that, his name was the Masterpiece Chris Masters. So I'm a little bit confused about where exactly he's going with this gimmick. But in either case, on this night, David Otunga introduced Johnny Laurinaitis, who was dressed in a all-white outfit from head to toe with a red tie. And as one fan said, he looks like Brother Love. But I got one better than Brother Love, and me and King, Jerry the King Lawler, actually share the same sentiments when we both said that he actually looks like Colonel Sanders with that ridiculous outfit. I know it's hot out there, but I would rather wear something else than look like Colonel Sanders. That's just me. But Johnny Laurinaitis informed the team that what they were going to be partaking in on this night was going to be very historic, that it would be as historic as when Stone Cold Steve Austin had refused to submit to Bret Hart's sharpshooter, that they will become history tonight when they make him become the general manager of Raw and SmackDown. From there, we see a very cool promo for WrestleMania 29 coming April 7th of next year from New York. And it is a really cool contest. In case you missed it, you definitely want to get on top of it right now. You have until April 15th. Check this out, fans. They're going to be giving away 100 trips to WrestleMania 29. That's right, 100 trips to WrestleMania 29. And the best part, you won't have to pay anything. They're going to pay for traveling expenses. They're going to pay for the hotel, I believe. Of course, they're going to pay for the pay-per-view. So all you have to do is text Mania 29 to 59907. Again, text Mania 29 to 59907. They're going to be giving away 100 trips. This is good until April 15th. I know I just put in a couple of bids over my cell phone, and it wouldn't hurt to get a couple of extra tickets. Anyway, we go on to the second match of the night, which was Randy Orton versus Kane. For Randy Orton, this would be his 9th WrestleMania appearance, as his first was back in 2004 against the Big Red Monster Kane, who has made 14 WrestleMania appearances. And very interesting demographic in this match, as the fans were chanting for Daniel Bryan for the early part of this matchup, and then they would actually go on and boo the match. And if you listened to the post-show that I did for WrestleMania, and in particular the WWE SmackDown post-show from this past Friday, I actually said that I was a bit disappointed with this match. I felt disappointed before this match even came on tonight, because I felt that there really should have been some type of a gimmick to complement this match, that it would have made more sense to have this match be possibly an Inferno match, or I know we've already seen an ambulance match, but they could have did something similar to that, maybe a stretcher match, who knows, or a Falls Count Anywhere match. And the fact that it didn't happen, I mean, to me, it just felt as if I was watching just a regular episode of SmackDown. And I didn't like feeling like that because, you know, unlike some of my friends tonight, I actually sat up and I said, hey, I want my WrestleMania tonight, and I want my WrestleMania in high definition. I did not stream tonight. I came up out of that pocket and I put down that $65 for that pay-per-view. And with regards to the Randy Orton-Kane match, I did not feel like I was really getting my money's worth. And a lot of fans felt the same way. Now, in this match, I also stated on the SmackDown post show that Randy Orton really needed this win because since he's been back, he's basically been jobbing to other people. And the man just had a birthday. I believe he is now 33 or 34 years old. I'm leaning more towards 33. And he still has a ton of gas left in his tank. I've said it once before, I'll say it again. We have yet to see the best of Randy Orton. And for him to just continue to go on this losing streak, I'm not really sure what the heck is going on because this win for Kane, in my honest opinion, really doesn't do anything for him. And it's just one of those situations that just kind of had me scratching my head and wondering just what exactly were the bookers in the back thinking as Kane would go on to get this win. And the end of the match was a bit interesting. I'll say that to say the least, because Randy Orton tried many times to get Kane in the RKO, but Kane always was able to get out of it. And the final straw that broke the camel's back is when the two were fighting in a corner and Kane was up on the top turnbuckle and Randy Orton tried to attack him and weaken him to the point where he could deliver the RKO, but Kane was able to counter and turn it into a choke slam to hell from the top turnbuckle to secure the victory. From there, we go to a backstage segment where Mick Foley and Santino Marella are eating crabs with one of the main cooks off the Discovery History show, Deadliest Catch, which is going to be returning for a new season on April 10th for you seafood lovers. The captain asked them if they knew what they were doing with regards to opening up crabs, and they both looked at him and said, yeah, we know how to open them up, and they put on their trademark socks. For Mick Foley, he put on Mr. Socko. For Santino Marella, he put on the Snake Cobra sock, and they just started attacking the plates of crabs with their sock hands, which then prompted recent WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012 inductee Ron Simmons, one half of the APA/Acolytes, to come in and look at them when it was silent for a awkward moment and then deliver his trademark damn. And it was a silly moment, I must say, because we really didn't need that backstage segment. I really wasn't sure what was the whole point of Mick Foley being involved in that, but in either case, let's move on with the next match. Our next match was Cody Rhodes taking on the Big Show for the Intercontinental title. And all throughout the weeks, Cody Rhodes has been playing the mind games with the Big Show, Cody Rhodes has been constantly telling Big Show through promos, video promos, that he's nothing but a choke artist, that yes, he can dominate probably 364 days out of the year, but there is that one day out of the calendar year, which is WrestleMania, where he just cannot get the job done. Cody Rhodes going into this match very confident and very cocky with his brand new red and white trunks, I might add, which really looked pretty spiffy. Waiting on the Giant, the Big Show, to come out, and these two would get it on. And it's not every day that I can sit up and say to you that I was entertained when it comes to a Big Show match, because usually with a Big Show match, I am honestly somewhat bored, and I'm waiting for the next match. In this case, though, I was actually entertained because Cody Rhodes, as good as he is, and as usual, is doing all the work to put that other wrestler over. And I think many of you can definitely agree that when it comes to possibly watching a 6-hour DVD of Big Show matches, there's only but so much one could take of his matches. So, but in either case, Big Show, with an upset, would defeat Cody Rhodes and would accomplish two historic events on this night. The first, he would finally end his WrestleMania losing streak. And the second, for the first time in the Big Show's illustrious career, he has captured the Intercontinental Championship. And I couldn't help but see the Twitter feeds that there were so many Cody Rhodes fans that were upset at this loss. And I brought up a very valid point to them, and I definitely feel the same way now that the pay-per-view is over, which is, do not be discouraged because Cody Rhodes lost the Intercontinental title. First off, think of this. Think of how long he held that Intercontinental title. Second of all, by him losing that Intercontinental title, it does not mean that he's going to be lost in the shuffle. WWE really realizes that they have a true gem on their hands. Okay? Cody Rhodes is in very good hands. He has his father, the legendary Dusty Rhodes. He has Goldust, his older brother. He has Booker T, who came out of semi-retirement to work a program with him and is giving him praise, trying to give him that necessary push. Cody Rhodes has a very bright future, and honestly, I think that by the Intercontinental title coming off of his shoulders, this now frees him up and puts him in the position where he can finally try to go for the main event status, because honestly, that's really where you go from there. You go for the main event, and I have a very gut feeling that that's what's going to happen with Cody Rhodes. You just mark my words, just sit back, enjoy the ride. What might be a loss for some is a win. You win some, you lose some. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's take a pause, and then from there we'll continue on with the rest of tonight's WrestleMania pay-per-view. You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 post-show.
You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show with Lee Daniel.
All right, and we are back. You're listening to the WrestleMania 28 post show. Our chat room is open in case you wish to participate in a number of the discussions with other users that saw the WrestleMania 28 pay-per-view. And also, you are more than welcome to call in and discuss some of the WrestleMania matches that I've already discussed. Our toll-free number is 888-342-9848. Again, that toll-free number is 888-342-9848. And I just got done talking about the Big Show Cody Rhodes match. And after the conclusion of that match, we would see the Beth Phoenix, Eve versus Kelly Kelly and Maria Menounos rivalry, which all started on an episode of Extra, the TV show that is equivalent to Access Hollywood and Entertainment Tonight. And this matchup, I thought was, as many fans did, this match was surprisingly, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. Now, for me in particular, I actually had a problem with the match being the third match of the night. And I just really felt that this match should have kicked off the pay-per-view, if anything. Just how we had the dark match for the Tag Team Championship, this Divas Tag Team match should have opened up WrestleMania, because it just seemed to be a little bit of a buzzkill, and I just thought that it was so funny how this Divas match lasted longer than Sheamus match with Daniel Bryan. And, there wasn't really anything in this match that really jumped out at me as far as it being, exciting. I did watch the finish of the match, and I would see that Maria Menounos would push Beth Phoenix into Eve, who's outside of the ropes trying to get tagged in, and Maria Menounos would come from behind Beth Phoenix and do a roll-up pin to secure the victory. And you know what? I am all for trying to make the celebrity look good and not make them look embarrassed, especially in front of a live audience and people watching at home. The only thing I would have done differently if I would have been the one to book that match, I would have had Kelly Kelly be the one to do the pinning of Beth Phoenix, because, when it's all said and done, Maria Menounos, she's not going to be at Raw the next day. She's going to go back to Hollywood and she's going to do her regular thing. Meanwhile, you still have the actual WWE divas that are going to be sitting up, traveling city to city, participating in anywhere between 3 to 7 minute matches. It really just would have made more sense to have Kelly Kelly pick up the win for that team rather than Maria Menounos. And somebody pointed it out, and I thought it was hilarious. I was actually chuckling during this whole entire matchup. But somebody had pointed out that there was a little bit of a brown stain on the back of Maria Menounos' attire. It almost looked as if she did not wipe her rear end properly. And if you had missed that, you definitely want to check out the encore, as it should be airing right now, or check it out when it comes out on DVD, as that was really hilarious. But yeah, Maria Menounos and Kelly Kelly would pick up the win for their team. And a backstage segment now we go to where HBK, Shawn Michaels, is being interviewed by Matt Striker, who continues his reference to Alanis Morissette's Ironic song, reminiscing about how he's aware that he has the power in his hands to end an era, and basically is looking forward to this match, knowing that he has that type of power. From there, we're informed that the Sunlight Stadium, which has been opened for over 20 plus years, has set an all-time new record now with the total amount in attendance, 78,363. Now, I would later find out during the event that early numbers have already started coming in for the WrestleMania 28 with regards to those that were in attendance. And the number so far is $8.3 to $8.6 million. Very, very impressive for the WWE, and I think it should be mad kudos to them, because a large part of that is due to their use of the social media outlets such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Let's not forget YouTube. They're now really starting to utilize that as well. And I just think that they have been doing an excellent job using those types of social media and really getting their product out there more and making more people want to invest in their product. So great job to the WWE for pulling in those numbers. Of course, as always, I'm very curious, though, to hear how the pay-per-view buy rates have done. So hopefully we'll have those numbers for you before the week is out or first thing next week. From there now we go to our fourth match of the night, which is Triple H versus The Undertaker in the Hell in a Cell match, being dubbed as End of an Era. And what better way to kick this match off than to have WWE Hall of Fame announcer good old JR. That's right. Good old JR made an appearance once again. Many fans, including myself, really felt that this Hell in a Cell match truly wouldn't be the end of an era if we did not have Jim Ross calling this match. And Jim Ross, who is looking really good, he is lost some weight. He has a goatee now. He looks very distinguished, but at the same time, on a side note, and I think y'all will find this funny, to me, he just looked like the little baby that's in the Just for Men hair color commercials, and the little baby's wearing the tuxedo suit, and he's driving around in the car talking about he changed that beard. If you haven't seen the commercial, just look it up on YouTube, or I don't know, usually the commercial comes on sometime in the evening. I think I usually run into it on USA, but if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up on YouTube. But it's a really funny commercial, but to me, Jim Ross had looked like that for a little bit, but the more and more I started looking at the beard, I said, wow. And actually, as many years as I have been watching Jim Ross call matches, I have never seen Jim Ross with facial hair. I was not even aware that Jim Ross could grow facial hair. It just shows you how much you learn every day. But anyway, you're talking about a fantastic matchup. I know there are a lot of fans that are out there that sit up and they just are tired of the whole Undertaker versus Triple H, and that, we really should have gotten something new. And I kind of feel where you all are coming from. But for those of you that had took the liberty of going to our website, InfinityOneProductions.com, and clicked on the Undertaker WrestleMania Matches tab, we had all of the Undertaker's WrestleMania matches. And I was actually kicking back with my staff, and I was watching some of the matches going into tonight's pay-per-view, and I saw Triple H's first encounter with The Undertaker. And I was just in awe. I was in reminiscence. I was going through that nostalgia trip because there has been an evolution in their matches. I mean, you take that match that they had and you compare that to WrestleMania 28, and then you compare it to tonight. The game has just, and I don't mean the game as in Triple H, I mean the game of the wrestling that these two men did to one another in that ring on those 3 occasions, including tonight. It was just entirely different. It's just a completely different beast. And if I were to compare the 3 encounters, I would say single-handedly the weakest would be the very first time that Triple H and Undertaker locked it up at WrestleMania. I felt that what they did last year at WrestleMania 27 blew the hell out of their first encounter. This matchup tonight, I was in a bit of nostalgia because I knew in my heart, and as I'm sure that many of you all fans felt in your heart, that The Undertaker was definitely going to win his match. It was just the matter of the storytelling that was going to be dictated in that ring that would get Undertaker to that win. And the crowd, you could really feel the raw emotion from them in this match as 2 legendary wrestlers. Say what you want about Triple H. You can sit up and say that he has made some controversial decisions with regards to how he came into power, but when it is all said and done, the man has a legacy, just as The Undertaker. 2 decorated wrestlers that have been in the business for 20-plus years. 2 of the best men that have participated in 19 of the 24 Hell in a Cells. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. And what better way to put a bookend on a decorated career for The Undertaker? What better way to put a bookend stamp on the era that type of wrestling was, as today's wrestling isn't even about that anymore. And what you all saw tonight in that ring was 2 men really giving it all. You saw 2 men who forgot the words sports entertainment and really went in there and made it be about professional wrestling. And I use that word strongly. This was about professional wrestling. And these 2 men, it was obvious. They sat up and they sacrificed their bodies. I mean, the welts that was on The Undertaker's back, the welts that was on Triple H's back, the fact that there was a bit of blood involved, and just the raw emotion that you could feel off Shawn Michaels as he's sitting up telling Triple H at one point, as Triple H is just continuously hitting The Undertaker with a steel chair, that no, you have to stop this. Give him a chance to get up. And Triple H being adamant and saying, look, you better end this or I am going to end this. And the very passionate, the conscious-minded Shawn Michaels trying to convince The Undertaker to sit up and throw in the towel, and The Undertaker would not fall. He would not throw in that towel, as the match would just continue. And you want to talk about back and forth. And it has been a long time since I personally felt truly invested into a matchup. And this match, for me, delivered on all categories, from the video vignettes to all three of the men being in the ring leading up to tonight's pay-per-view, where they did what they knew how to do best, which was tell that story to try to make those fans feel invested in watching this match. And yes, it would be The Undertaker who would go on to defeat the Game, Triple H, as at one point in the match, Triple H would try to take his sledgehammer and use it again on The Undertaker, but The Undertaker was on the offense, and he walked over to Triple H, who was on the ground trying to reach for that sledgehammer, and Undertaker just slowly making his way towards Triple H, stepping on that sledgehammer and saying, it is not going to happen, and Triple H just going into the corner and being as defiant as ever, telling Undertaker that he can suck it, and he used some profanity that was not able to get past the guys in the censor truck, as Undertaker would deliver the Tombstone Piledriver to pick up the win. But it was after the match that was very moving, as to me it seemed like Undertaker slightly broke character, as that actually, correction, Undertaker did break character, as he hugged Shawn Michaels, and you could actually see somewhat tears coming down on the two men's faces as they shared an exchange of words. But then, after that, it would be the true moment where Undertaker grabs Triple H, gives him a hug, and takes his arm and puts it over his shoulders, while Shawn Michaels takes Triple H's other arm and puts it over his shoulder. And the three men proudly left that ring and left that arena knowing that they gave it their all in that ring to the fans, that everything that they did was for the fans, as truly deep down in my heart, I can definitely tell you as a fan that we have probably most likely seen the last of the Undertaker. Undertaker, 47 years old. His wife, Michelle McCool, it's recently been said that she is pregnant. I am still trying to confirm this, but the last I had heard, Vicky Guerrero had revealed this information in a tweet of some type. So, but once I get more information on that, I will definitely share it with you. But it definitely does not surprise me, as Undertaker has let it be known for the past couple of years that he has been wanting to settle down, be married, and start raising a family. And if it did not look apparent that this Undertaker that we saw tonight truly looked as if he was ready to move on to the next phase of his life, then I'm not really sure what to tell you, because this Undertaker looked very well rested as opposed to the man that we saw last year in that ring, who looked very tired. He looked very defeated. He just looked like he needed to take a long, extended hiatus. And this Undertaker, though it wasn't as close to the Undertaker I remember from 2-3 years ago, in-ring competition-wise, for just one night, this Undertaker really shined in my book. And that is very impressive that this man was able to go out at the age of 47 and do what he needed to do in that ring almost as if he was in his 20s. You know, and you got to give props to Triple H, now comes the question: what happens with The Undertaker? What happens with Triple H? Well, if you listen to the WWE SmackDown special from this past Friday, I basically said that, now Triple H just needs to focus on the corporate business. But do not count him out as far as wrestling goes, because as it was revealed in his WWE contract, he is locked until he is 46 years old. So they have him until 2016, I believe. And in that contract, out of a year, he is able to work a selected handset of matches, or dates rather. And once he reaches that certain number, then it's going to be at his discretion while working with WWE management on if he wants to work additional dates. Somewhat similar to the deal that TNA's Sting has. So, very interesting match there, but you just really got to give your props up for that match. And I can honestly tell you, I thought that match should definitely be a match of the year candidate. But for those fans in particular that felt that this match should have never happened because they faced each other twice, I challenge you to go back and look up the first WrestleMania encounter where Triple H took on The Undertaker. Compare it to what they did last year and compare it to tonight. For some of you, you will sit up and say that their match last year out of the three was the very best. For others, you will sit up and say that this match was the very best. But one thing you definitely will be able to say when you look at all three of those matches back to back to back is that they were different type of beasts. Let's do this. Let's go on ahead and let's take a break, and then when we come right back, we will follow up and finish up with the rest of the WrestleMania matches, and I'll give you my full takeaway from this pay-per-view event. Stick around. You're listening to a very special edition of the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show.
You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 Post Show with Lee Daniel.
I just got to give a shout out to Metallica. Please don't sue me because I'm not claiming that this is my music. I damn sure am not sitting up saying that I illegally downloaded this music either, because I am proud to say that I have bought all of Metallica's albums, and anytime James Hetfield or in particular Lars Ulrich wants to sit up and look at my Metallica collection, they are more than welcome to. And favorite Metallica album, by the way, if you were to ask me, for you Metallica fans, right now I keep pushing the hell out of the Death Magnetic album, and in particular I like the Above Magnetic EP. That thing, those 4 tracks that are on there, 4 or 5 tracks, those really should have been put on the album, but I can kind of see why they cut them. But anyway, let's go on with the rest of the WrestleMania match. And after the conclusion of the Triple H Undertaker match, we were shown a video footage of the whole entire class that has been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2012. And, of course, as my friend Cal has stated earlier, Edge was inducted, Yokozuna was inducted, the legendary stable, the Four Horsemen, were inducted, Mike Tyson was inducted, and legendary luchador wrestler Mil Muertes was inducted as well. And for those of you that sat up and said, with regards to me pronouncing the Max Luchador's last name, no, I'm not going to repeat it again because I'm tongue-twisted right now. But a very special moment as the camera had zoomed up on Edge, who was standing alongside his class of inductees, and he got very teary-eyed, and you can just really tell by looking at his face and reading his eyes that he wishes that he could still go out there and do what he knows how to do best. And I just got to give him kudos. I think he's been handling this transition very well. And heck, I like his new haircut. I don't know about some of you, but I think his haircut looks even better than Chris Jericho's. Because, I mean, as long as I've been following Edge and I've been following Chris Jericho's careers, I never expected them to cut their hair. So you can imagine how I felt when I first saw Chris Jericho come back and his hair was cut. I'm like, no! And it took me a while. I got used to it. Now I like it. But with Edge, when I first saw the hair, the new haircut, I said, wow, he actually looks cool. He looked like he shed like 10 years off by cutting all that doggone hair. So, but very emotional moment for Edge. And as you all know, the WWE Hall of Fame is going to be coming on tomorrow night at 8 p.m., 7 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 p.m., 7, you know the drill, on the USA Network. It's only going to be an hour special. So for those of you that really want to see the whole thing, kind of pull a page out of my book. Don't even watch the Hall of Fame, okay? What you want to do, you want to go on ahead, you want to build up that anticipation even more for wanting to go on ahead and buy that WrestleMania 28 DVD when it comes out, because that would be the smartest move. Because I know there was a couple of years where I had sat up and I had bought a WrestleMania DVD, and I had already watched hour one of the WWE Hall of Fame. And, I must admit, after I had bought the DVD, I was kind of like, I don't know. I kind of felt like I should have not watched the first hour, and that I would have just did better just waiting for the WrestleMania DVD so I could really be invested into that Hall of Fame. But for those of you that are interested, it is coming on tomorrow night, just an hour before Raw, so definitely get your DVRs ready. Check that out, as it should be pretty cool. All right, moving on with the rest of tonight's pay-per-view matches now. Our next match was, correction. We have to first go to a backstage segment, which I don't know why, but it featured Heath Slater, who was talking with Flo Rida and wanting to figure out what he had to do to perform with him, as he felt that he was a very talented artist as well, since he is the one-man Southern rock band. And Flo Rida told him, the only thing you can do for me is hold my mic. And Heath Slater got really pissed off, and he would try to attack Flo Rida, but Flo Rida ended up punching him. He didn't punch him in the face. He pushed him on his ass and went back into his locker room after security came out and saw the situation and escorted him back in there. And from there, we had our fifth match of the night, which was Team Johnny versus Team Teddy Long. And right before the start of the bell, we got a plug for The Rock's new movie, G.I. Joe, which opens in theaters June 29th. Should be interesting to see how that does a month after the Avengers comes out on May 4th. And, of course, we all knew it was going to happen, folks. Team Johnny Laurinaitis would pick up the win, and it was just as many of you fans had tweeted throughout the night that basically everybody was going to be getting in their little finishers, their high spots, and that there would be some type of a weird shenanigan that would occur. And I felt those same sentiments as well, as I stated on a earlier episode of the RCWR show that I believe that Eve was going to cost them the match, and that Eve would prove that her actual alliance is really with Johnny Laurinaitis. And what was the end result, folks? We would see Eve go into the ring celebrating with Zack Ryder, who was doing a very impressive job in the ring, but she caused to be just enough of a distraction as The Miz would capitalize and deliver the bone skull, whatever he calls that move, skull-crushing finale. Try saying that 15 times fast and see if you get in a tongue tie. All right, it's a little bit late right now, and I'm a little bit tipsy, so you have to excuse me. But anyway, so yeah, Team Johnny Laurinaitis would win, and as a result, John Laurinaitis is now the SmackDown and Raw general manager. Post-match, Team SmackDown are looking at Eve, and they're wondering what the heck just happened. Why did she get in the ring? And she tried to help Zack Ryder up, but then proceed to kick him in the groin before leaving out of the ring and leaving with a sly smile on her face. Should be a very interesting development there on tomorrow night's Raw, as she will need to explain her actions in front of the live audience. From there, we get a WWE recap week on what WWE had been up to since they were down in Miami with their many television appearances on shows such as Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, The Conan Show, Live with Kelly Ripa, you name it. I mean, they were everywhere on TV, even morning news. And they also did the WrestleMania reading challenge where 3 lucky contestants had won, and as a result of winning, they actually got front row seats. So that's a pretty cool thing. Backstage segment now, we see CM Punk, who's getting ready to go out and face Chris Jericho, but Johnny Laurinaitis, who's celebrating, runs into Punk and says to him, "You look upset. Well, let me see if this will help you out." And Johnny Laurinaitis would add a stipulation to CM Punk's match against Jericho for the WWE Championship. He would say to him that if Punk were to lose his cool, lose his temper, get disqualified, that the championship would go to Chris Jericho. And from there, it was time for Chris Jericho to take on CM Punk, and what a great match it was. Now, I am not sure if this was one of those type of matches that was a show stealer. I won't say it was a show stealer, but I will definitely say to you that this match was damn good. I mean, it really was one of those Ricky Savage, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Randy Savage type of matches. And it was really good, very classic match. Chris Jericho, being the jackass that he is, would sit up many times throughout this match and just play mind games with CM Punk. Ask him how was his sister doing, as CM Punk would try to go for a steel chair, and Jericho is just telling him, yeah, hit me with it, go ahead, hit me with it. But the referee tells him, look, if you do that, I got to DQ you. Jericho's going to get the belt. And through perseverance, CM Punk, he just continued to remain focused. And CM Punk would win in style to retain his tag team. Oh, God, I said tag team. I'm really getting tired. I apologize, folks. He would retain his WWE Championship belt by submission. That's right. He would do it by submission with the use of the Anaconda Vice. And what a great match that it was. For me, that was probably one of the most high points of the night, aside from the Hell in a Cell. And I'll actually go more into great detail about why that match was really cool later on during the week, during the Tuesday night broadcast of the RCWR show. And from there, Brodus Clay came out. Why, I am not sure, but Brodus Clay came out and he told his fans to pull out their phones because he is going to call his mama. And from there, a bunch of mama dancers came out, and it was a very awkward moment. As one fan pointed out, Brodus Clay got more time than Daniel Bryan. And this was one of those type of segments that just really had me scratching my head going, why is this guy even getting WrestleMania airtime? The crowd obviously was not really invested into him like that. He seemed to be kind of fumbling. He really didn't have the crowd's attention in the palm of his hands. And it was just one of those situations where that airtime really should have gone to those that were participating in this match. From there, we would see Flo Rida, and forgive me, but I do not know the singer's name. It was some young white guy that was rapping, and he really looked like he really needed to eat a sandwich and have some chocolate cake, and he needs some fat in his body bad because he just looked like he was about to pass out from anorexia. But he was rapping, and I really wasn't invested into that, but John Cena would come out. From there, Flo Rida, who did a really great performance and hyping up The Rock, would come out. And our match is set for tonight, as it was the great one, the People's Champion, the Brahma Bull, the eyebrow-raising, trail-blazing son of a you-know-what, The Rock, coming out to take on the C-Nation leader, John Cena. And what a historic night that it was. So many people have been speculating all year, would The Rock win? Would John Cena win? Some people even went as far as to say tonight that Brock Lesnar was going to interfere in this match and set himself up for a match against John Cena at next year's WrestleMania. And folks, you all know me. I always say, don't believe in everything you hear, because a lot of these guys that run their websites, they want to try to set up and they want to try to get those hits, those clicks on their website, because that's putting money in their pocket, is giving them the attention, is giving them the ratings for their website rankings. You know, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. You always want to just wait until you see what happens, because on this night, there were no shenanigans. There was no Brock Lesnar. Some were even reporting that Batista, who was down there in Miami as well, was going to come out and interfere in this match. But that would not be the case, as no shenanigans would be involved. It is just, in this match, mano a mano. And when all the dust settled, when it came time to finally learn the truth as far as who would be victorious in this match, it would be no other than The Rock. And a lot of things comes into my mind from this victory. Like many of you, I actually expected that there would be a John Cena heel turn. I expected that The Rock would win, but I did not expect The Rock to come away with the victory and go unscathed after post-match. And it was just really a weird situation, but at the same time, for you younger WWE fans, you really got to see history tonight, because the way that the crowd was interacting during this entire match was equivalent to what transpired when The Rock took on Hulk Hogan. And that was just very memorable. I mean, everybody was off their seats for this match, and that same raw intensity that was in that match was all found in this match. The Rock never looked to be in such true form tonight, as last we saw him was at the November Survivor Series. But in a sense, that match really didn't count because he was involved in a tag match. This match against Cena tonight would see him take on John Cena one-on-one for a extended period of time. There would be no breaks where The Rock could go and ask for a bottle of water like he usually does when he's on TV. The Rock, despite the fact that he is at the age of a young 39, old man for some people, he proved that he could still go out there and he can hang with those young boys, and he did, in fact, put boots to asses tonight and beat John Cena all over his hometown in Miami, Florida. Overall tonight, I would have to say that the WrestleMania post-show, I would have to say that the WrestleMania pay-per-view was outstanding tonight. I would have to say that probably the low points during this pay-per-view was the Divas match, the Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, the Brodus Clay. It was still an enjoyable moment. What really sold it for me, what made me feel like money was well spent on the pay-per-view, was seeing the Hell in a Cell match and seeing the Rock take on John Cena. I'm going to go into more detail about this on Tuesday night on the RCWR show. It'll come on at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, so definitely go on ahead and check that out. But in the meantime, that is going to do it for the RCWR WrestleMania 28 post-show. I thank you so much for listening, and until Tuesday night, you all take care, and definitely check out the WrestleMania 28 pay-per-view next chance you get. And remember, you can download this episode in iTunes, and it's on demand on blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. Thanks for listening. Take care, folks.
You're listening to the RCWR WrestleMania 28 post show with Lee Satin.